camera. I'm just talking to Instagram as well, folks. Morning, everybody. See you in a minute. Oh, and if you're new to us over there, give us the hand-waving emoji. We can shout out your name. See you in a minute.
Welcome to the social media manifestation of ADD and ADHD. One social media platform isn't enough. She has to be on 3 at the same time. Hello, good morning, everyone. Should we do some hellos?
Yeah, morning, everybody.
Fiona Cromack, Tim Reed, Sabrina Neal, Brenda M, Tina Davis, Sue Wood, Della Nixon, Sarah
Fiona
Witherington.
Cormack, Sabrina Neal, Emma Watson, Bethan Williams, Sabrina Neal. Oh, we got that. Don't know. I like your name, don't know. Olias, Christina Olivia, Kerry Gracie, Karen V, Sarah McAuliffe, Ross Souch, Melly Mel,
Hey,
Rachel
Russ.
Hollick, Joe Pardon, Gina J. Ooh, you jumped up a bit there. Gina J.
Shelby McCabe, Lucy Shadbolt, Chloe Lee, Julie Tilley, Tracy Golden, Pauline Mulvey, Karen Busby, probably repeating lots now. Rosby Mojito Girl, December 1982, Saab Turbo. Do you have a Saab Turbo?
Joe Flower.
Paul
And
Hyman.
if you've just come over from
so do you look.
Instagram, please do give us a hand waving emoji so we can call out your name and welcome you to our, hello Amy Roger, to our little community here, which is lovely. 99% of people on this channel, we honestly have, and my friends always say this, they say we think you've got the loveliest followers and subs anywhere, and we really, really have. Hi, Ellery Jones. Hi, Tracy Gates, been a member for 7 months. Hi, DOD, Ruby Carthers. So welcome, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Theo, new people over from Instagram. Hi, Lizzie. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. Honestly, you will make friends here, and this will be a place where you can come regularly. Some days we do. Hi, Cornish, another person, new person. It's quite changeable, isn't it, what we do on Coffee Moaning? Some days it's just full on news. Some days it might be that we're so bloody annoyed about something and we feel that you might be too, and we have a bit of a rage about it. We love differing opinions. You certainly don't have to agree with everything we say. No, we don't want you to agree. The thing is, we're never rude. We're not rude to you. And
We
nobody's
always
ever rude
swear
to us.
an awful lot.
Actually, that's true.
That's total nonsense.
But we're never unkind.
Good morning, everyone. Can I just say quickly before we get
Oh,
cracking?
let me just finish. But sometimes, like today, when we're a bit fed up of the news, we'll just do a more of a general sort of chat, sort of like a lifestyle-y sort of thing.
A
And that's
sort of magazine style features. We'll talk
yeah,
about
so
things
today we're going to, as you saw in the title, we're going to be talking about heartbreak. A number of our followers are going through that at the minute, so we thought we'd share some of our experience on that, maybe give some tips. We're going to talk about the fact that a lot of us are feeling really down and anxious at the moment, how we can help each other out with that. And we're also going to do a nice bit about best and worst holidays we've ever been.
Yeah, and the feeling down thing is very much attached to season. I know that a lot of you guys
Hi,
talk
Nicola.
about the end of the summer, the beginning of autumn, and they're funny moments. Even spring. I mean, although they're kind of notional, they are also real, because you see the weather changes, the landscape changes, nature changes. Before we get on to anything else, though, I'd like Nadia to say a special little birthday to Marina, who's Tori's 4-year-old, and
Yeah.
we know Tori very well through all this social media stuff that we've done, but she would like you to sing happy birthday to her 4-year-old Marina.
Oh, well, of course we will. Tori, it's so lovely to hear from you. I hope you and your family are well. And it's Marina's birthday, so happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Marina. Happy birthday to you.
Not very Italian. We're trying to be Italian now. I was trying to be a bit operatic.
Buongiorno, come va? Va bene.
Now, a couple of provisos. I've got a new cough and I've got a new runny nose, and I'm sure it's going to be dubbed man flu, but I'm not feeling particularly 100% today. And we are taking the dogs to the vets later today. So
both of them are ill.
both of them aren't very well.
Non-stop with our dogs.
So send them your love, because we know that you hold an affectionate place in your hearts for them. So hopefully the vets will be able to sort something out.
Toffee is very unhappy today.
Very unhappy.
Kerry Harris, member for 21 months.
Hi,
Hey.
Kerry. I wore my mushroom hat last night.
Did you?
Yeah, I think people quite liked it. I think
What one's your mushroom?
my Russian Cossack hat.
Ah,
But when
you
you
like
pull
that
it up,
hat,
it looks like a mushroom. Do you think that the reason they call it mushroom is you need more room in your mush?
Maybe.
It's another one of those where the blank-faced
No,
expression.
it's just I was reading a comment there.
Right, can I just I'm going to quickly give you the top headlines today. We're not even going to discuss them. John Barrowman axed from Dancing with Ice due to historic flashing concerns. Blackwall Tunnel has been hit by the eco-warriors, or as some news agencies are calling them, eco-mob. Isn't that making a judgment, calling them an eco-mob?
But papers always make judgments.
No, I know, but they like to pretend they're objective, but they're just clearly not. And
I don't think they ever pretend they're objective, do they?
well, I think they would
Maybe
argue
the
that
Guardian would pretend it's objective,
Yeah.
but it's not.
And just to, and this is quite serious, this one, but also to back up the feeling that the whole Sarah Everard case isn't just an isolated incident. I was horrified to see last night that a Metropolitan Police officer has been charged with rape in Hertfordshire and was charged yesterday. So it's clearly not an isolated situation when you then also look at the number of police officers who are also under investigation. So it's just a reminder that yes, there are bad eggs in every industry, but quite for it to happen so soon after such a high-profile case is quite horrible.
So, quite a few people here saying that they feel very down. That's what we were saying. It might be quite a good chat to have. Sabrina Neal, really struggling today as period due and bloody menopause dragging me down and no help from GP. Feel alone, obviously with my daughter's eating disorder, a bad patch. Just feel shit, sorry.
Oh,
But you know what? You know what's really good sometimes is just to say I feel shit. You know, just to feel absolute shit and sit with it for a bit and know that it will pass. The only guaranteed thing is nothing stays the same. We don't know which way it's going to go, but things will change. Please go to the Menopause Doctors website. It's a free website, it's a charity website, and all the information that you need is on there. You may well need HRT. I mean, it's changed my life, hasn't it, HRT? It's completely changed my life. And don't get fobbed off. Some doctors will fob you off and say that you're not... These are nice, these new glasses. Sorry, I just saw them. Say that you're not, you know, you're too young or you're too this or you're too that. And so being armed with the information before from that website is a really good idea.
Elijah's has woken up flat today. Tracy Gates, anxiety through the roof. I'll tell you something. I mean, what Nadia says is about saying something is really important. I've been learning about, with this course that we're doing, about active listening. Active listening is, you know, it's not like this.
No.
But it kind of metaphorically is that. It's about hearing what's being said, and it's not just about hearing what's being said in order to advise. It's also about hearing what's being said in order to better understand, to perhaps more meaningfully get someone to open up a bit more, to talk through, walk through, and get the full story of how someone's feeling. Because often you're in possession of more facts or feelings about how you're feeling, or more words even, than you would perhaps think. And in a sense, the active listener is someone who's paying attention to what's being said and is kind of escorting you deeper into what you're really feeling. So I think, you know, sometimes, albeit that we can't sit and have a conversation with you literally on here, one part of that process can happen through social media, and I think that's something that's often under stressed.
Tracy Golden says, I'm feeling happy today after a weekend of feeling sorry for myself. So, you know, things change, and I think what I've learnt from the therapy that I've had on and off over the years is I've always tried to run away from bad feelings by immediately saying what I should be feeling and how I could feel better and, you know, be grateful and be this. Sometimes we just have to sit with it and say, I do feel this bad. Sometimes it can really help to distract and do something else. But sometimes we just need to sit with the feelings and not distract. But sometimes if we ignore them too much and keep ourselves busy, they're bubbling so hard underneath the surface that it can really overwhelm us and rock us. So I'll do, you know, I do a variety of different things. If I feel really anxious, I will check in whether just sitting with it and feeling sad. And when I say sitting with it, I don't mean literally sitting down, but actually just thinking about it, allowing it, ruminating, looking into it, feeling it, thinking about it will work for me. And some days it won't. And what will work for me better is to stay busy and then it passes like a black cloud, and then I move on to something else. Sometimes doing a list of what I'm grateful for can help. Sometimes it doesn't, because if you feel really down, the last thing you want to do is sit and think about the things you're grateful for, because it doesn't necessarily salve what you're feeling there and then. What are your top things when you feel
That was my bowel feeling.
anxious
What are my
or
top?
sad? Your top tips?
Do you know what? I think it can get a bit stressful if you only have a list of top tips, because
Well, not only, but
No,
what
no,
are the
no,
things,
no,
your
I know.
coping mechanisms, I suppose?
Well, this morning I've woken up not feeling particularly great. I suppose what I've done is I try and do an X-ray of what is different about yourself for the day. So I know that I'm feeling unwell. I know that I had a terrible night's sleep. So I try not to get hung up too much on all of that. I mean, it's slightly different because obviously, with being diagnosed bipolar, I can have a day like today where I can feel behind the meds there's a bigger helter-skelter happening, and the meds sort of manage that out. And yet it's weird. It's like having a sense of yourself. So I think anxiety, what often comes with anxiety is a disassociation. You don't quite feel like you're in your own head or your own space. You're kind of fixated on something else. And I've said it many times. I mean, I think the simplest thing that you can do is to get outside, feel the wind on you, look at nature. I mean, it's so weird how simple some things are. I mean, I was talking the other day to one of the people on this course, and we were talking about the need perhaps for more walking therapy, where people talk to each other
Quite
and
a few
share
people
about their
saying
problems.
about walking.
Yeah,
And the Frazzled Cafe.
whilst walking, the idea that you could be moved, because sometimes people struggle with sitting face to face, and actually I think probably for a lot of you on here, the mediation of this screen and us being able to talk to each other means you can open up a bit more, because there's a degree of anonymity. You're not having to look us in the eyes, though we're looking you in the eyes. Do you know what I mean? And that's why sometimes I don't feel ready or right to do a mental health chat, because I do want to be able to present my face and talk. But, for a lot of people, and for myself too, there are many occasions where you don't want to look at people. And just a final thought on this, and I'll shut up. Even in 12-step meetings, whilst there was a great element to doing Zoom meetings, because it maintained AA meetings and other 12-step meetings through lockdown, one of the things I do actually like about going to them in person is you only see the backs of people's heads. And that's quite important, because it means that sometimes you can share or you can open your mouth and you're not trying to read what other people are thinking of you. Because I think people with anxiety worry that other people are going to think they're idiots, or that you shouldn't be feeling it, or that your anxiety shouldn't be there because my anxiety is more meaningful. And I think that's where I think actually not seeing each other and talking to each other like this really helps. So I would sort of I would say that some of the coping strategies are actually talking to other people, and maybe talk to other people on social media by text. Reach out to people. People.
There's nothing like somebody just saying, oh, I hear you, or that must be really tough. Just that often is enough, because nobody can really fix anybody else, but everybody wants to feel like they've been heard a bit. So many people here saying nature, going out, and I think if you're not in like a deep depression, because I think if you're in a very dark place, it's sometimes the very last thing you want to do is go out. But yesterday I felt very anxious. I was very worried about one thing in particular yesterday. And I absolutely knew that if I could just go out and walk, I would have felt better, but I just couldn't do it. I suppose I was tired, but I was just too locked into feeling anxious about it that I couldn't get. What I needed was somebody else to say to me, come on, let's go. And I would have probably completely refused, but
Someone somewhere just said sometimes we need a witness to our feelings.
yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Nice way of putting
Somebody just said up there, Frazzled Cafe. I'm so interested in this Frazzled Cafe. I was actually booked to join one, but I missed it. But this is something that Ruby Wax set up, and it's originally they were all set up in the Marks and Spencer's cafes, but then there was the pandemic, so she went online. And these are a bit like AA meetings, it seems, because she used to go to AA meetings because she had such anxiety. And then eventually she was asked if she would mind not coming because she wasn't actually an alcoholic. So she set up these groups, and they're online, and I think they're every day. And I know a lot of people have been really, really helped by them. So maybe check out the Frazzled Cafe as well if you really are finding it hard.
Emma Carter, sending you love. I know she's having a bit of a difficult time today. Everyone send Emma a hug.
Big hug, Emma, and keep insisting with that GP of yours. And if not, change your GP. Go to that menopause website. Listen, don't.
Hi, Jan.
Just one last thing on the menopause, because I'm going to do a whole film on the menopause because it's Menopause Awareness Week. You are classed in your menopause when you haven't had a period for a year. But the time we actually need HRT to begin is in the perimenopause, when we feel like we're going mad, when our periods are haywire, when we can't sleep, when we've got the sweats, when we're lack of libido, anxiety, and only 41% of medical schools even teach GPs anything about the menopause. A woman contacted us on Loose Women the other day. She went in to talk to her doctor about the menopause and he had to Google it. He Googled it in front of her. So you have to be armed with the information before you walk in that room, because sometimes they push you out of the room because they're embarrassed because they don't actually know about it. Wow. So if you are having erratic periods and have been for a couple of months and you're over 45, but sometimes it can be younger than 45, and you're having any one of the 40 symptoms that will tell you're in perimenopause, you have a right to talk to your doctor about HRT. If you can't take HRT, something else. So I'm going to do another film on it. So.
Something that's coming through an awful lot on the channel is a lot of people are really struggling with their doctors to get face-to-faces and wanting face-to-faces. I mean, we're still in a situation where whenever I talk to our doctor, it's always on the phone.
No, but he's amazing, our doctor.
I know, he's brilliant.
Because as soon as you need to go in, I've been in more times the last couple of months than I have ever.
So can you demand or ask, or is it based on each surgery? Is there...
Well, yes, some people are having a terrible time, but our doctor says, I think you better come in. But I know that's not the case for the majority of people. Well, not the majority, but for many.
But just tipping back to this whole anxiety, depression, there's never been an occasion where if I'm feeling down and I go out for a period of at least 10 minutes outside, that I don't feel some degree better. It doesn't resolve it, it doesn't solve it. And also I think it's really important if you're feeling really ghastly, like I did in the middle of my fucking breakdown. If someone comes in and insists you walk out the door and go outside, you're going to want to kill them. There are times when it's all right to stop, hunker down, close the curtains, be inside. On. The problems creep in when any of that is done in a way that kind of wants to communicate with no one. You're not eating. It happens for more than 2 days. Obviously, at that point, it becomes a cause for concern. But you know, it's important it's important for other people dealing with people with these feelings to not be insistent that this is the solution, because it isn't always a solution. Do you know what I mean?
And for people that live with, I mean, like Mark and I, it's very hard if you're with somebody that has depression and being able to gauge what are those days when actually that person might need you to go, come on, you'll feel so much, because some days it really works with you, doesn't it? And just trying to gauge when those aren't the days when actually that person needs to just be in a dark room for a bit. But that's moving more into serious depression. I suppose what we're talking about here is more the the general anxiety and low mood that's going around the nation. I mean, I notice it even with our girls, and then even the conversations they bring back about their friends. It's been a shit 18 months, and I think it's hitting a lot of us in a way that it didn't maybe before. So.
Oh, yeah. Gabby's here. My boyfriend broke up with me on Saturday. I haven't stopped crying since. My boss has gone away and left me in charge, but I just can't imagine how I'm going to get myself to a productive place. Oh, sweetheart. Right. Okay. Well, let's move into this then. The first time my heart was broken, and I sent you a message, Gabby, on Instagram. The first time my heart was broken. That's exactly how I felt. I just didn't know how I could function, how I was going to function. The only answer is to take it 1 minute at a time. If you think too far ahead, you go crazy. My advice is really, really, if you can bear it, is to go cold turkey. Don't be texting. Don't be looking on Facebook and Instagram to see what they're doing. Don't be having loads of conversations with their friends to find out where they're at and what they're... Honestly,
I promise you, though that's highly addictive, that kind of behaviour, and is completely understandable, it will definitely make the pain worse. The pain will last for longer. You have to cold turkey. You have to. Because if somebody's broken up with you and they have less feelings at that time, it only makes things worse for them if the person is begging and trying to talk to them and trying to see them. It won't do you any harm. It won't do you any good. And if you start to eat away at your pride and your dignity, it will be harder to recover. I know, I promise you. And I've seen so many, when I was younger, I would see my friends do this as well. And, you know, and that kind of heartbreak when you'll get, I mean, I can think of one of my cousins when she was just like, she was so brokenhearted and she became quite obsessive with trying to find out what was going on with her ex. And that pain went on and on and on because she just, once she dived into that pattern of behaviour, she couldn't extract herself from it. It doesn't help.
No.
And you won't get what you need from that person that's broken up with you. You might want to talk to them. You might want to say, oh, can I just come round to get this? And can I da-da-da? And all that stuff that you do to try and see them. But you will look to them as somebody that is desperate. They will want to push you. Who knows? If you leave it as a total break, who knows? They might be able to work out their feelings. It's not always the end.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I think
Yeah.
the more often than not in a sort of heartbreak or relationship breakdown situation, and I mean, we've done a podcast about this where I've talked about how I haven't been acutely on that receiving end of that happening by someone I've been with. But I tell you one thing, my heart still is broken to an extent from what I did that meant that I had to separate from Izzy's mum and that is still in me and it's still there. But that feeling, when I look back, and I wish I could give myself some advice back then, it would be to not keep looking back at things in a manner of what if we'd stayed, what if I'd seen. You have to manage what's in front of you. And in many regards, if you're working, if you're doing something else, if you're being asked to take on more responsibility, that can help. There are, you know, I'm a big believer, there are times in your life where shifting, perhaps even unhealthily, your focus onto things other than you, for example, workaholism, whatever, exercise, whatever it could be. There are times when it's okay to look elsewhere, to throw yourself into other things. Because believe me, I spent most of the time I first met Nadia just looking back and wishing something else had happened. And no amount of wishing will change it. And as Nadia rightly says, it's perfect advice. If anything is to move towards a more positive resolution or a positive comeback for you both, the only way you're going to guarantee getting there in a sense, if at all, but don't expect it, is to step back completely.
Yeah. And this is, it's effectively a death. And the pain goes as deep and seems as dark and seems as impossible. But you will recover. You just do. We are incredible as human beings. You will recover. There are, and eventually there will be a pinhole of light, just a pinhole of light, and then that pinhole of light will grow and grow and grow. And eventually, if this person isn't the right person for you, whether it's a man or a woman, you will eventually look back and go, oh my God, you'll look back and you'll go, I can't believe I was that hurt. I promise you. It's impossible to believe that when you're where you are. Kirsty Jane, I've eaten my own pride and dignity. I don't feel great today. I'm getting the support I need. So go and speak to someone else and explain your feeling exactly. What you're feeling, you need to share. If you can't even bear to talk to anyone else about it, write it down. Just get your help you. It will only they'll pull away from you. They'll be uncomfortable with it. You'll feel more rejected. You'll feel more hurt. That person isn't the person for you today, whoever might be going through a breakup.
Absolutely. Sorry, I just have to pay a mention to lots of people sending their, obviously, apologies and love and hugs to Craig Smith, who says his best friend hung himself on Saturday.
Oh, Craig.
Craig's so sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It feels even trite to say everyone send their love and support, but obviously everyone will do,
not.
and everyone is, you know. I mean, I just on here, it's like you want to see the person and give them a hug. I mean, tragically sad. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
And it's the horror of suicide is, yeah, yeah. It's like a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That's the
So
only way
violent.
to describe it. It's a nightmare. It's so violent. It's so shocking. It's so utterly devastating. Both Mark and I have lost more people than anyone should have to from suicide. We understand how difficult it can be. We can't understand your exact pain, but the shock is really quite extraordinary. That the injustice of it is unbearable. And please, just this one thing: if you are somebody that is helping somebody through a loss that they may have had from suicide, please really think about this sentence. When you think to say to that person, what a selfish thing for that person to do, it doesn't help.
No.
Because somebody that commits suicide is never being selfish. They have been in the most terrible, terrible place. And usually they think they're doing a better thing for the people that they leave behind. So it's a confused signal, and it's a very difficult thing to say for somebody that's grieving the loss of somebody that's not committed suicide. We mustn't say that anyway. Taken their own life. It doesn't help. But our huge, huge love to you. There are so many good organisations that can support people who have experienced the loss of suicide. Please reach out to them, and reach out to Samaritans if things get really tough for you. And yeah, sending you a huge hug.
Yeah, our heart goes out to you. I mean, it's literally like, I mean, in our separate experiences of it, it's like a rip through the fabric of life. You know, when it happens, it's such a sort of unexpected sort of rupture, isn't it? You just can't believe it. And it's you're right. What Nadia says is, you know, this feeling that it's a selfish act, you'll feel fury and you'll feel anger and you'll feel like why and all that kind of stuff. But as you rightly say, Nadia, you know, people who do this, they have got to a point where they are not thinking or feeling rationally, and they do feel a burden. So, you know.
Dinner's ready. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. Dinner's ready is saying here that she lost her boy at 19 years old, only 18 months ago. Yeah, so the coroner had said he'd slipped through the net. And this is what worries us so much, doesn't it? How many people who need support and it's just not there. It's just not there. And it's just so frightening. And that awful feeling of what could I have done? What could I have done? What could I have done? So we also understand that for anyone that is, you know, lost somebody from suicide.
Yeah.
So listen, big, big love to, yeah.
And love to Shelley Riddler and Claire Smiley, Emma, so many people. I think this, you know, I think everyone has had some, you know, connecting problem with, you know, or experience of, if not suicide,
touched by it
suicidal
in some
feelings.
way.
I mean, you know, I've talked, anyone with a mental health issue, without going into the details of it, has skirted round that area in their mind, in their heart, in their life. So, you know, so many of us have a close proximity to what it means to essentially lose control or lose a sense of self. And that's always the fear, and that's always the worry for anyone around people with a mental health problem, is at what point and in what ways and how do I know if this is going to sort of rupture in a way that this, and I know that was your fears around me at my darkest, and you know, it's that, how do you, and for the person going through it, you know, when you kind of, you never really come out fully the other side, but when you are away from the precipice of whatever it is you're about to fall down, there's even that fear for yourself, because you think, well, Jesus Christ, I don't want to feel that I'm going back there, or that there's a feeling of that. And this is something I'm going to talk about, bipolar, because it's really odd. That narrative is running in the back of me, and it's really odd. It's like a new me has been plastered over the top of it. It's really, really strange sensation to have meds that at the moment, touch wood, feel like they're working. And I think, you know, it's another reminder that mental health support, which is the reason I'm kind of looking into wanting to help people with addiction and alcoholic problems, but also families, is that there just needs to be as many people as possible, empaths, people out there willing and wanting to help people in whatever small way, whether it be active listening, whether it be troubleshooting and give direct advice. There are so many ways in which you can help.
This is, I want to read this out. Kirsty Jane, speak to Samaritans. I've been on the phone to them. They really do help and support you. That's so lovely. Thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people, it kind of just washes over when you say ring the Samaritans and forget. Yeah. They're an amazing organisation. I applied to go on the Samaritans. They didn't want me. Well, no, they had too many people. Yeah, do you know that? There's a waiting list for it. So there are plenty of people out there. There's plenty of people on the phone lines to talk to you. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see your name, but you said that your son is really struggling. He's 10. He's self-harming. And I think it said that you're not even on the list for CAMS. The lists are terrifying. Check out a charity, Young Minds UK. They have a phone line where you can ring and you can get support. And I think they might, I could be wrong, hold groups for young people to meet and talk. Young Minds UK, really do check them out. They might be able to give you some support in some way. Creatorholic,
you can ring the Samaritans even if you're not suicidal, which is a great line of advice to you, Claire Smiley, who says that you're really scared to call the Samaritans. So
don't be scared. Why would you be scared? Some people think they haven't got a big enough problem to ring the Samaritans, which of course is ridiculous as well. If you feel you need to talk to someone, then that's what they're there for. So pick up the phone and do it. Oh dear, that was...
I mean, all of that is very different to seasonal mood change. I mean, that's much, much, more significant and profound.
But that's how conversation goes, doesn't it? We thought we were going to start with one conversation and we went on somewhere else. Please check out our How to Stay Married So Far podcast on breakup. If you're, would it just be called break? What would you
having your heart broken?
I think it might be something like that. It's quite a while ago we did it. It was at the beginning of the pandemic, about 6 months into so about a year ago's podcast. There's a video of it on here. And also, do check out our podcast, Confession of a Modern Parent. I know there's a couple of people saying their young people are anxious. We've done a number over the last couple of years of different podcasts on anxiety and dealing with it with our teens and depression. And big love. Somebody just said there, you're never alone with this lovely community. And you know what? Some people might say, well, that's a bit trite. I don't think it is. I think it's really nice to have somewhere that you check in each day with people. And that's what we promise to do. Very occasionally we can't make it, but we're always here either morning or evening, either coffee morning or wine o'clock. So hit the subscribe button, guys. Hit the notification bell so that you can always be told that we're here when we're here.
Are we going to drop best and worst holidays?
I think so, because we've got to film. We've got to film this thing as well.
Okay,
guys, if you've liked spending time with us, hit the like button just underneath us. It makes us feel nice. Actually, I'm just going to be honest.
And just all of our hearts go out to everyone who's struggling. There are a lot of messages there of people going through real problems.
Mark's going to do a mental
really
health
does nudge
film.
me to. I mean, and I know I've been talking about it, but I too need to be in the right headspace and right heart space to do it. And also, just a reminder, a lot of people there. Dawn Claricoats, my brother's recovering alcoholic in clinical depression. Alcoholism and addiction ties in inextricably with mental health. It's almost like one and the other can't be separated. One tries to mask the other. In masking the other and managing the other becomes the problem, and then the problem of alcoholism then morphs into, fuses with the problem that's become a almost habitual hormonal highs and lows of depression.
Self-medication.
It's self-medication.
What were you told by your psychiatrist?
So, I don't know which bit.
Well, when he said to you, your alcoholism came from your bipolar, that
absolutely.
you I could have helped you with at like 14, 15 years old.
But the problem with all of these things is picking them up. If I'd have dropped in on the 23-year-old, 22-year-old me, I'd have been hard pushed if there had been this term bipolar to apply to me. I'd have just been like, I'm all right, I'm just plodding around through my life, causing chaos, making a mess, drinking a lot. It doesn't work that simply. But the point I wanted to make was that, anyone that's really struggling with alcoholism and addiction, I've always used the analogy that for a lot of people, alcoholism and addiction is a kind of slow motion form of self-harm and potential suicide. And that's why one should never characterize addiction as a choice or an indulgence or a just can't stop and all that kind of stuff. It's not. It's not. It's someone who really has lost the meaning of living, and they are essentially using a very slow form of anesthetic to take themselves away increasingly.
Chelsea girl, I just read your message. Big hug. That's a lot.
Sorry, I
You
didn't say
poor
that.
thing. No, that's really a big hug to you.
Okay.
It's these waiting lists are just doing people in, aren't they, for all sorts of things. Big love to you. Guys, don't forget, we talk about AA, we talk about CANA. There is also, oh God.
Well done, Sarah Jane. Well done. 4.5 years clean. Well done.
What's Al-Anon, which is for people, friends, family of people that are addicts. So if you've got somebody that is self-medicating with alcohol or drugs or sex or whatever, that is an enormous strain on you. That's just unbearable. In fact, when Mark was in rehab and we used to go in for our weekly meetings as partners of, they said often the partners will get iller than the addict because they're having to spin all the plates and, you know, keep everything hidden from everybody else. And Al-Anon, there we go, Karen Vigos, is the place that you get to go to have support and understanding and have a community.
Look, Caesar. Hi, Caesar.
Hi, Caesar.
I'll reply to the email later. Al-Anon helped my wife and kids tons. Highly recommend.
There you go, you see. Al-Anon, Frazzled Cafe, you know, Young Minds UK, all these people, the Samaritans. There is help out there. And you know what the most powerful thing is, and the bravest thing is, and the strongest thing to do is just to say, can I have a bit of help? You know, it's not saying I don't need any help. It's about saying I'm overwhelmed. Could I have a bit of help? Could I have a bit of support?
Suicide, in which we've lost the power to do anything about it. It's like you head down the helter-skelter slide. Remember in those sort of sacks or kind of carpets that you used to get in?
I don't like them. The fluff used to go in
No,
my
the
nose
fluff used to go in my
once,
mouth.
but I didn't
But you're flying down and you can do nothing about it. So yeah, okay. But you can. That's the point. You can.
Marcia Toms, I
Hey,
see a
Tim,
psychiatrist
you can, can't
today, but I have little hope. Have hope.
Have hope.
Have hope. Just have hope. Just decide I am going to have hope. Somebody earlier, just going up there, I think her name was Alice, was saying, it's really strange. I always feel better as evening starts to come. Mark's exactly the same. So how about trying this? This is something I learnt from CBT. Never to say, oh God, I don't want to feel like this. So if you're in the trickier part of the day, you don't say, I don't want to feel like this. What you say is, I'm feeling like this. I'd prefer not to, but it's okay. I'm just going to carry on with my day. It will pass. Because you know it's going to pass. Because you know when it gets to the evening, you're going to feel better. I'm uncomfortable with this. I don't really like it, but I know it will pass. So meanwhile, I'm going to do something here. And then before you know it, you're in the evening. And then the more you do it and the less you get locked into whatever that is, the easier it is. It sounds so simple, but it's so many people do so well with CBT, you know.
It's so hard to be kind to yourself. It's so hard to get yourself through I mean, Claire, you've just said that you self-medicate. You know, we all self-medicate with something different. We all self-medicate. And it's very hard to get to this place of, and I often still to this day go, what is this sense of supposed purity that I can get to? You know, I mean, in this world, it's very hard, whether it be that you self-medicate through watching Hey You. You know,
that's what we do. We medicate with that. We medicate with Below Deck, and you might laugh.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But it's true. We watch those programs because we're very intense people. We're always like, we both got ADHD. We're both bloody maniacs. And when we watch those shows, we just step out of our life, like you might do if you have 2 large glasses of
Karen McGrath.
Cabernet. Our Cabernet or our Sauvignon is we watch that shit TV and we just go...
And it corrodes your brain.
It's like the puppet that can just go like that and just stop. And so if you're using alcohol, is this something else? Like Claire, I self-medicate because I'm lonely. You know, you've said I'm lonely. You've said that out loud. Ring the Samaritans. Talk to them about that. get in, you know, maybe take the step, because there's other groups of people that are lonely as well.
And listen, if it's alcohol, you know, there are some cracking AA meetings out there that aren't all about just sitting there in a dusty, fusty room. And it's, you know, Tim will vouch for it, it's a different 12-step fellowship. But it's such a warm, encouraging place. And you don't need to, because sometimes I used to feel the stress with social anxiety of feeling like I had to connect, I had to be a perfect attendee of an AA meeting, I had to perfectly connect with everyone in the room. You don't have to at all. You can go in, you can be private, you can be
totally
shy,
silent.
you can be anxious and silent, and all you'll get from other people is a knowing look and a knowing smile, and they may even give you a hug. They've all been there. They've all been there. And Shelley Riddler, that's really important what you say in response to Claire. This was the reason I stopped coming onto lives. I felt like I'd be bringing everyone down. Look, often these lives are about silliness. Look at the one I did last night. Silly, stupid, ridiculous, and everything. But if there's, you know, if you're really struggling and you need to make contact or connect, always say, you know, and we might miss a comment. Sometimes we miss comments because so many go up. But you know that we have a huge amount of compassion for anyone who's struggling with their mental health. Massive compassion. So, you know, you're not bringing anyone down.
And just like a last thought, if you can think of someone or something ever that you've loved, ever, could be your cat, could be your goldfish, it could be your sister, it could be, and you, when you hear yourself being unkind to yourself, put in place that person that you loved and then switch that conversation. You know, Mark the other day was just saying something so horrible. I can't remember what it was. You said something so horrible about yourself. And I said,
keep it private then.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. And I said to him, just switch that round and imagine you're saying that to one of your girls. You'd be horrified.
That's a very good point. It's a very good point.
And so try and treat yourself as you would treat the person you love. You can do it. It's like a discipline. I can do it. Try it in the it's very difficult to take a massive leap and do it, but in one tiny way today, do something, like get off this live and do something really kind to yourself.
That's really good advice. Think of someone you feel totally gooey and soppy and fond
Or something,
and
it might be your
empathetic
pet.
towards. Someone or something, and then just apply it to you for 5 minutes today. Just do that
Just
as a
sit and just try
little,
and feel it.
discipline. At some point in the day, be in your head towards yourself as you would be to that thing or person that you adore, love, or would be soft with. Nadia says it to me often about my girls, and immediately it catches me, and I go, no, absolutely. Why? What would I say to my girls if they were feeling this? You know.
The biggest group hug. Let's at the same time do a hug for Xander. I was thinking about him yesterday.
Man.
I was using his mug.
Yeah.
If you're new to the channel, this was one of our followers on here that sadly died not so long ago. So, and he always loved a group hug at the end. And
That's strange. Okay,
what an
guys.
emotional
morning
morning that was.
I'm going to knock best and worst holidays out of the title now.
Yeah.
Okay? We'll do that another day.
Yeah. Lots of love, guys.
Stay safe. Lots of love. And